Alright, what's going on YouTube? It is me, Childish Brandino, and welcome back to the third annual My Favorite Albums of the Year. This year we'll be doing 2021, as of course it is 2021, and I've got quite a list for you guys. It's a bit longer than the one from the previous 2 years, but it's not like super long. And before we get into it, I just want to mention that this is my opinion and you don't have to agree with me. Music is very subjective and everyone listens to it differently and enjoys their own type of music, so I appreciate anyone that is watching this, and I appreciate whatever kind of music that you listen to. So this year I've got 10 albums for you guys. As always, the list is not in order except for the top 3. I listened to a lot of music this year. I'm gonna go ahead and put my 2021 Spotify Wrapped on the screen right now. I listened to more minutes of music than I did in previous years, but what I'm really surprised about is that Tame Impala is not in my top 5 artists listened this year. But I do understand the top 5 that I did listen to. But before we get into the video, I just want to say there's actually like a very small percent of people that watch my videos are subscribed. So if you aren't subscribed, you know, you can always subscribe if you'd like to. You can always change your mind if you don't end up liking my content. But yeah, let's get into the video. Alright, so starting off with number 10, we have Trip at Night by Trippie Redd. I actually didn't listen to this album when it first came out. I kind of waited a little bit because I haven't really been a huge fan of Trippie Redd stuff recently. I really miss his stuff from like 2017 and 2018. But of course everyone has heard Mr. Rage. I was like, you know what, I'll just go ahead and give it a try because it's a pretty good song. So I listened to the whole album and I was actually pretty impressed with how good it is compared to his previous albums. So I'm going to start this new thing where I'm going to tell you guys my top 3 songs from the album and then my least favorite. My least favorite doesn't necessarily mean I don't like the song, it's just the one I don't really listen to as much. So my top 3 songs for Trip at Night by Trippie Redd are MP5, Matt Hardy 999, and Danny Phantom. My least favorite is probably iPhone. I really didn't connect with that song that much, but let's go ahead and get on to the next one. So coming in at number 9, we have Inside by Bo Burnham. If you guys don't know what this is, I don't know what rock you guys are living under, but Bo Burnham released a Netflix special called Inside, and I quite enjoyed it. The songs were amazing on it. That's why this album's on the list. I know there were some songs that were pretty popular that went viral, which I believe those ones were Bezos 1 and All Eyes on Me. So my top 3 songs for Inside by Bo Burnham is White Woman's Instagram, 30, and Shit. I gotta say my least favorite song on this is probably That Funny Feeling. Whenever I was watching the Netflix special, I kind of like got bored of that song, so that's probably the song that I like listened to the least. Alright, so coming in at number 8, we've got Music of the Spheres by Coldplay. This album just recently came out, and I know a lot of people have like mixed emotions about it. I know Anthony Fantano didn't really like it at all, but I quite enjoyed it. More than I thought I would. I do prefer Coldplay's older music, but some of the recent music, it's pretty good. It's just not like as good as the older stuff. I know there was like 2 or 3 singles that released before the album came out. I actually waited until the album came out to listen to everything. And my universe with BTS was really big at the time. I just never heard it before. And it's pretty catchy. I'm not a huge fan of the whole collab with BTS, but I think the song would be good on its own. But I mean, it happened and it's pretty popular, so, which I don't think it would be as popular as it is now if it weren't for BTS. I actually have tickets to go see Coldplay next year. I believe it's in like June or July, one of those months. They're coming to Tampa and I'm really excited. I have some pretty good seats. And as always, I'll have content on my YouTube channel from the concert. But yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait for that to happen. That's one of my most anticipated concerts of next year. But my top 3 songs for Music of the Spheres by Coldplay are Humankind, Beautiful, and I don't know what to call it. Infinity symbol. It's the infinity emoji thing. So, but yeah, those are my top 3. And probably my least favorite is, I gotta say, Higher Power. Even though that was like one of their bigger songs on it because that was the first single that they released, I'm just not a huge fan compared to the others. I still listen to it, but like I said, my least favorite song doesn't necessarily mean I don't like it. So coming in at number 7, we have the Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. The first time I ever heard of Baby Keem was when I went to the first Donda event in Atlanta. It was whenever the song Praise God played, and then after the event happened, I looked at who was on the song, and I saw that Baby Keem was on there. I was like, oh, who's Baby Keem? And I looked it up, and it was Kendrick Lamar's cousin. And I thought that was pretty cool that he was on there, and he had a pretty good verse. I was very impressed with it since it was like the first time of me ever hearing him. And then Range Brothers came out and people really liked that song, and I enjoyed it too. It was a pretty good song, so I was pretty excited for the Melodic Blue to come out. There's one song on here that is probably in like my top 5 of the entire year, and that song's gotta be 16. I don't know, but there's just something about that song that is just so good, and the lyrics are amazing, the beat, it just flows so well, and I think it's a great ending track for the album. So of course my top 3 is gonna have to include 16 along with Family Ties, because you know that whole meme that went around with the song, which honestly I think it's so catchy and it's hilarious. It's awesome. And also Range Brothers. My least favorite song in here, I'm not really too sure. There's a few that I don't listen to a lot, like Gorgeous and South Africa, so it's probably gonna be one of those. So coming in at number 6, we have Scales and Icy by 21 Pilots. Wow, this album was really something else. When Shy Away first came out as their single, I was kind of mixed. I was like, okay, they're kind of changing some things up. They've got the new colors, the pink and blue. It's very different from their dark and edgy songs. But 21 Pilots has been my favorite band of all time since like 2016 when I first was introduced to them. And I've seen them 3 times. I was supposed to see them a 4th time a few weeks ago, but I decided to sell my tickets and go to the Denzel Curry concert at my college. So, which I wasn't too upset about because I've already seen them 3 times and I would have had to travel all the way to Atlanta for that. And I just assumed that they were probably going to come back for another tour here in Tampa or Orlando or somewhere in Florida that I would probably end up going to. So I just decided to go to the Denzel Curry concert, and honestly, it was such a good concert. I was so impressed for it just being a free concert by my college. I think it was like his first performance in like a long time, and it was outstanding. But back to the album, when it first came out, I actually like really hated it. I listened to it when it first dropped at midnight, and me and my friend Ash, we were like listening to it at the same time, and we hated it. But Shy Away came out before, and I thought it was an okay song. It wasn't my favorite, but I did listen to it a lot. And then Choker came out. I was in love with Choker. Choker is probably one of my top 3 on here. And then Saturday came out, and I did not like Saturday at all when it first came out. Now I like it. It's pretty catchy now. It just seems so different from all their other things. But yeah, this album I have mixed emotions. Like some days I love it, and some days I'm just like, why? I have no idea. But my top 3 probably are Good Day, Choker, and Mulberry Street. My least favorite probably has to be No Chances. A lot of people really like that one. I just don't see the appeal to it. It's like people are like comparing it to Pet Cheetah from Trench, which is 100 times better than that song. Also, I really don't care for Bounce Man either. Those 2 are like my least favorite. So coming in at number 5, we have Long Lost by Lord Huron. This was an album that I was super excited for. I was in love with their previous 2 albums, and I saw them in concert, I believe, in like April of 2019, which that was like an amazing concert. I loved it so much. I saw them at House of Blues in Orlando, and the tour for that album is like a 10 out of 10. I love every single song on that one. So I was extremely excited for Long Lost. They released a few singles before, like Not Dead Yet and I Lied, which those were really good songs, so I was so excited for the album. And then once it came out, I listened to it, and I was very impressed. One day, I really hope to see them at Red Rocks over in Colorado. That is like a venue that I really want to go to, and they always perform there, and the vibe there, just like the music fits the scenery and everything, and I really hope one day I get to go see them. I was kind of upset whenever they announced their tour because they weren't coming to Florida, as most artists aren't because of how crazy Florida is with COVID right now. So hopefully one day they'll come back here and perform the songs from this album, which I'll be very happy to go to. So my top 3 songs for Long Lost by Lord Huron is Mine Forever, At Sea, and What Do It Mean. I really can't pick a least favorite on this album. I'm probably just gonna have to go with one of the interlude ones. Probably like, we'll go with Deep Down Inside Ya. How about that? So coming in at number 4, which was a very hard decision to decide if I wanted to put it in the top 3 or not, is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. So this was Tyler's next album after Igor, which was such a massive hit in the music community. I actually saw Tyler back in 2019, like September I believe it was, for the Igor tour, and that was a really good concert. Even though we were like barricaded, and then Goldlink decided to start a mosh pit and just ruin everything, which sent me and my friends to the back. But other than that, it was a really good concert. I just wish we were a bit closer because we waited from like 8 a.m., which was insane. But yeah, it was a good concert, and I was so excited for Tyler to come out with a new album. And the first single he released was Lumberjack, which I really enjoyed that song. I actually listened to the album, I believe, the day before it came out because it released, I believe, in like Australia Australia first, and I got like the leak file of it, and I decided to listen to it. With my first listen, I was kind of disappointed in. It was very different compared to Igor and Flower Boy. Like, what people like to say is all of his albums mixed up together, like is Call Me If You Get Lost, which I can kind of see, but I was just so disappointed at first, especially with the DJ Drama thing, which a lot of people don't like that, how DJ Drama has to say something like every 2 seconds, which I do find annoying. Which I did find annoying at first, but not really so much anymore, because that's literally what a DJ Drama album is. And I actually have tickets to go see him in March with one of my friends. So my top 3 songs are probably going to have to be Rise, Juggernaut, and Fishtail, which is on, I believe, the CD versions of the album. But my least favorite song probably has to be Wilshire. I know I made a mix with Bonfire in that song, which got pretty popular on my channel. But the song is 8 minutes long, and I just don't really feel like sitting through that whole song. It's not horrible, it's just I would rather listen to the other 15 songs. Alright, so before we get into the top 3, you know, just like the previous year, we have honorable mentions. So what my honorable mentions are, they were okay albums. They weren't good enough to be in my top 10, but they weren't horrible. Like, there's a few songs in there that I enjoy. So our first honorable mention is The Off Season by J. Cole. A lot of people really like this album. For some reason, it just didn't connect with me as much as his previous albums did. I saw him for the For Your Eyes Only tour, which I believe is like the best time to ever see him. So with the honorable mentions albums, I'm not going to include a least favorite because that'll be very hard to do. So yeah, I'm not hating on this album. I don't think it's horrible, but I don't think it's the best. It is nominated for a Grammy this year, which I kind of hope doesn't win because there are definitely better nominations than this album. So my top 3 probably have to be My Life, The Climb Back, and Pride is the Devil. I really wish Lion King on Ice was on there because I really like that song, but he only released it as a single with The Climb Back before the album came out. So moving in at the second honorable mention, we have Long Term Effects of Suffering by Suicide Boys. I really enjoyed their previous album called Stop Staring at the Shadows. There were a lot of songs on there that I really enjoyed. And all the singles that they released before the album came out were amazing. I was so hyped for the album, but I do believe that they released their best songs before the album came out. So yeah, this album was kind of a letdown because I enjoyed the singles more than the entire album. I listened to it from start to finish right when it came out, and I was just super let down. I shouldn't have had my hopes so high, but it is what it is. I'm probably gonna have to give you a top 4 because there are 4 that I really listen to a lot, and those are the 3 singles, which were New Profile Pic, Avalon, and Materialism as a Means to an End, and the 4th one would probably have to be Bleach. So the third honorable mention that we have is All Over the Place by KSI, but the deluxe version. So I've been subscribed to KSI for like as long as I can remember, and whenever he started his music career, I wasn't a huge fan of his songs until recently, and then he announced the album called All Over the Place, and I was actually very impressed. It was a pretty big step up from his previous material, and he's actually got some pretty good features on here. I'm surprised he was able to get Future and 21 Savage, and especially Lil Wayne. But speaking of Lil Wayne, the song that he's on, Lose, is probably like also one of my top 5 songs of the entire year, maybe top 10. It is such a good song. I was so impressed. Lil Wayne recently hasn't really been the best in features, but for this song, he actually like goes all out for it. So my top 3 are definitely Lose, The Moment, and Madness. So for the 4th honorable mention, I probably have to do Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine by Brockhampton. This was a really good album when it came out, but I just feel like it fell off so quickly. Like the single that was released before, Buzzcut with Danny Brown, that was a pretty good song, but then the album came out and I really enjoyed it for about like a week or 2, and then for some reason I just like forgot about it. I don't really know why, but it just happened. So it is a pretty good album, but it doesn't make the top 10 because I just quickly forgot about it. So my top 3 songs for this is probably Buzzcut, Count on Me, and Bankroll. So coming in at the 5th and final honorable mention, we have Certified Lover Boy by Drake. So when this album came out, like right before, it was the whole Kanye versus Drake feud and everything, and I was all, of course, on the Kanye side because of Donda, and I'm just such a huge fan of Kanye. So I'm gonna be honest, I was a Certified Lover Boy hater because of the whole Donda thing. But of course I still listened to it when it first came out, and I actually hated it when it came out. Like, I listened to it, I was like, wow, I'm so glad Donda is like way better than this. I listened to like every song and I just didn't like any. And then eventually I kept listening to it for like the next 2 days, and I picked out a few songs that I really liked from it, and I just realized it really isn't a bad album. I hate the cover. The cover is absolute garbage. I don't know why he thought that. But there are a few good songs on here if you really give him a chance, and I hated Way Too Sexy when it came out. I thought it was such a stupid song, but now it's actually a pretty fun song. And I really hope people don't hate on me for this, but I really think Kid Cudi did a way better job on this album than he did on Donda. He had a way better verse on I Miss You Too compared to Remote Control and Moon. The songs that I like on here, I actually listen to quite a lot. But my top 3 songs on here are probably In Too Deep, Race My Mind, and I Miss You Too. There's just something about In Too Deep, the second half, that just really gets your like brain spinning. I don't know, just the instrumental and how Drake's voice is just so spacious and everything. It's just, I love it so much. Alright, so here we go. We have my top 3 favorite albums for the entire year. Alright, so number 3. As you may have guessed it, Donda by Kanye West. Now, this isn't the deluxe, it's just the regular one. This album is really something else. It was such a good experience to be a part of the rollout. From whenever he first announced it in 2020, like that is such a long way. But then he announced the listening party, and I was like, okay, tickets are only $50. Atlanta's like a 6-hour drive from me. I have to go. So I called up my friend Jace. I was like, Jace, do you want to go? He's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, screw it. I'm just going to buy the tickets. You and I are going to go. So I bought the tickets. I booked the hotel. Him and I were just out. We just left. It was insane. And this was like in the middle of my summer semester in college. And I just said, screw it. I was like, YOLO, I have to go see this listening party. Because I've always wanted to see Kanye. We didn't know what to expect from the listening party. And when we were there, we really didn't enjoy it because he didn't say a word. We were just confused. There was no direction. He started 2 hours late. It was just like a really weird experience. The speakers were like blaring too loud where you couldn't really understand what was going on. We would have had a better experience if we knew that was going to happen before, because we went in expecting Kanye to perform the album, Kanye to speak, to show his face. All it was just him walking around in a square white tarp and just going back and forth in the middle of the songs while it was blaring on the speakers. Which, from what we heard that day, we loved the album already. We found a file that had the Apple Music live stream on it, and we just listened to that on the way home. So we literally drove to Atlanta the day of the concert, checked into our hotel. There's an entire vlog on my channel if you guys want to watch it. But we checked into the hotel, then we went to the concert, did the concert, hung out with one of my friends that was there, went back to his hotel, chilled there for a bit, went back to our hotel like 2 a.m., had to wake up a few hours later, and we head straight back to Orlando. And it was funny because Jace had to work that same day. But overall, it was a really good experience. I'm happy I went, and I really wish I went to the second listening party because that one was even better than the first one. But hey, at least I got to say I was one of the first thousands of people to listen to Donda. So before I talk about my top 3 songs, I have to talk about Believe What I Say. That is my most favorite song of the entire year. That song, I believe, is the best on the album because of the production. It sounds like it was so well done. I'm so happy that that song made the cut. Every day I probably listen to that song, which I'm so surprised it wasn't my number 1 song for the year on my Spotify Wrapped. But then again, the album didn't come out until August, so which is already past halfway through the year. So my top songs are probably going to have to be Believe What I Say, 24, and Junior. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a few more. Probably Off the Grid, Praise God, Jail Part 2, and of course, Donda Chant. Alright, so coming in at number 2, we have Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. So Olivia decided to drop this album a week after my relationship ended, which honestly, what better timing to listen to this album. When Driver's License came out, I really wasn't a big fan of it because it was just overplayed and that's all I ever heard. I enjoy it a bit better now. Man, this album is so good. Every single song, it was what I was feeling at the time, and it was just such a coincidence that it came out at that time. But yeah, Deja Vu was actually my number 1 song of the year, and then Traitor was my second, I believe. All these songs I'm just listening to on repeat. And props to Olivia. She's gotten so many awards this year, And she's also nominated for a few Grammys, which I really hope she gets some of those Grammys, because I believe Driver's License was like the biggest song of the entire year. I think it was the #1 most played song on Spotify. So thank you, Olivia, for releasing this, and you have done a great job. I really hope you go on tour, and I would love to see this entire album played. So my top 3 songs for this are probably Traitor, Deja Vu, and Favorite Crime. My least favorite probably has to be One Step Forward, Three Steps Back. I didn't really listen to it as much when the album came out, and I just think it's one of the more filling tracks for this album, but it's still a good song. It's just not my favorite. My most favorite album of the year is An Evening with Silk Sonic by Silk Sonic. Wow, this album is insane. When they first dropped Leave the Door Open, I was so excited. Like, who doesn't want Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak to be on an album together? Like, they are like the best duo, and they just connect so well on this album. It just doesn't feel like a collab. This just feels like a natural duo. And I really liked Leave the Door Open when it first came out. It was a bit overplayed since it was a radio song, but I still liked it even though it was a bit overplayed. And they released Skate. I wasn't a huge fan of Skate. And then once they released Smoking Out the Window, I was like, okay, I am so ready for this album. Smoking Out the Window, the lyrics, everything, just the way Anderson .Paak mentions Hercules. It's just such a good song. So this album dropped, and I listened to it from start to finish. It's not a long album. Every single song in here I am constantly listening to. I have actually seen Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, not together but separately. I saw Anderson whenever he opened up for J. Cole back in 2017, and then like 2 months later I saw Bruno Mars for his 24 Karat Magic tour. But I would love to see them together, like a Silk Sonic tour. This would be great. Bruno could do his own songs, and then Anderson could do his own songs, and then come together in the end for Silk Sonic. I just think they should do that. So yeah, my top 3 songs on here probably have to be After Last Night, Smoking Out the Window, and Put on a Smile. One of my favorite things about this album is how After Last Night and Smoking Out the Window are next to each other, because After Last Night, he's talking about how he's so in love with this person. I would buy anything for you, like, let me know what you want. And then the next song, it's like, man, I bought all these things and I'm not really getting anything. I just think it flows so well, not really people notice it. And wow, Thundercat does such a good job on the song too. But yeah, my least favorite probably has to be Skate. I really like that song, but it's just like, it's my least listened to on it. So yeah, those were my favorite albums of 2021. I really hope you guys enjoyed the list. If there's an album that I didn't mention on my list that you really liked, let me know in the comments below. Let me know which albums on my list that you really enjoyed. Let me know your favorite. And just like that, I am off. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to like and subscribe. And don't dislike because I won't be able to see it. I'll see you guys next year for my favorite albums of 2022. Bye.